Hi, Gemini Sun and Rising. Welcome to your August 2023 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Well, in doing these forecasts for the last several months, I can say that August seems like um, the month, I was going to say the sleepiest month, but it's not really sleepy. There just isn't as many major transits as there normally are, but depending on the sign that is experiencing them, there could be some very significant things happening. And I do think that you are one of those signs, Gemini, because you do have a blue moon in your 10th house of career. So that could indicate something special based upon what the full moon represents, which I'll get to when I get to it, because that's actually the last major transit of the month. At the beginning of the month, the definition of a blue moon is the second of two full moons within a month. And usually my experience has been that they are in the same sign. In this case, that is not true. On the first of the month, we have a full moon at 9 degrees of Aquarius, so that is a fellow air sign to you, and that forms a trine ostensibly, depending on your degree of sun or rising, but it is friendly in terms of the element of air. And this is the ninth house. So if you're completing any kind of work in academia, your bachelor's degree, your master's, or your doctorate, maybe, this is the summertime in the Northern Hemisphere, and that's when people tend to graduate, usually it's around June, but maybe that's when you get your all your what do they call that? I was going to say certifications, but credentials, if you will. So it might be finishing a saga in that area. The full moon is also about kind of revelations, sometimes things coming out. But even like on the spiritual level, it can be very intuitive. And the ninth house is the God house. So you could have some kind of download, if you will, that is about what it is that you came here to do. Well, it's more like the ninth house is your life philosophy. So you might realize the meaning of life as it pertains to you. And obviously, I would say that in many cases, this isn't going to be some random eureka moment. Of course, there are such things in life, but more likely something triggers this to make you think that. And so if you finished a writing project, the ninth house is publishing. That could also be going on. On the 16th, the new moon is at 23 degrees of Leo. That is a friendly angle to Leo is a friendly angle to Gemini. It's a sextile coming from the third house, which is the house that you rule in astrology, the house of the mundane mind, which is information that we need to navigate our life on a worldly level. So it's no surprise that the third house is also media, including social media, the news, breaking news. It's the house of teaching and learning. So new moon could be new developments in these things. You might be getting a teaching assignment. Certainly Gemini, being ruled by Mercury, might tend to get involved in intellectual pursuits as part of your job description. And it's funny, though, that if you have this is your rising sign, Gemini, the 10th house for you will be Pisces. So some of you Gemini ascendants might actually be energy healers or in that kind of line of work. And anyway, so new developments with anything to do with your mind, maybe a new writing project, teaching assignment. The third house can be your siblings. And the reason that this is significant is on the 23rd, the sun goes into Virgo. This is a mutable sign. That is your fourth house of home and family. And on the same day, Mercury goes retrograde in this area. And that's important because Mercury can be contracts and things like that. And if you are dealing with any kind of real estate matter, be especially vigilant about anything that you have to sign so that you're not taken by surprise if it's held up. Actually, this could be the time when it gets held up. And also any kind of, the fourth house can be the mother. Some people say the father, so family of origin, any kind of misunderstandings with them that lead to complications. If you have been estranged from your parents, one of your parents, this might be a time when you hear from them. I don't know if this can also be you contacting them. Mercury retrograde can be hearing back from people from your past. But sometimes people are not speaking to family members. They may hear from but this is, in particular, I would say the mother, but also because of some astrologers, what they say that this is the father, that then. But there could be, real estate mirrors that you have to take into account, that there is some snafu with the paperwork, perhaps. On the 28th, Uranus goes retrograde at 23 degrees Taurus. So this is going to be in your 12th house. I have a late degree Taurus rising. So I am currently experiencing Uranus in the 12th, and I actually have a very big 12th house. So it's been in there for a long time. And quite frankly, I'm not sure how it has impacted my life, this transit. But I will say that Uranus can be about things that are galactic. So we're talking about other beings that humans may come in contact with, other star systems. So if you've ever heard about the term starseed, that's what I'm talking about. And I have to say that I have gotten involved in that in this time frame. So the 12th house can be spiritual dimensions, and you can see that this is a dimension of your spirituality. And when Uranus is retrograding, there can be more of a kind of a chaotic aspect to this, because I feel like Uranus in the 12th house can lead to some people having a Kundalini awakening. And did that occur to me? I wouldn't say anything specific on that, because I had already experienced it in a way, an awakening, not dramatic like some people, but kind of on a more subtle level and just more of a gradual level. But some people experience major things occurring that they can talk about in sequence. And the reason that this is important is that Uranus can be the Kundalini, which is the energy at the base of the spine, that when the person experiences that awakening, it goes up the spine. The symbol for the American Medical Association is based on that, because that was taken from some other kind of holistic symbolism. I don't really know all the details on that, but I do know that that same thing, you will see that in metaphysical literature. And the point is that it is a potential within all of us, but only some people awaken because they are at a stage, or they're doing certain things. You can do certain things to speed that up. It's not necessarily recommended, because like with Uranus retrograde here, this could make this more unstable, meaning that it can be very random. The person can suddenly have this spontaneous Kundalini awakening, and they may not know what to do with it. So being aware of any kind of practices, even I would say even like plant medicines, because whatchamacallit, the 12th house, this is Pisces domain, it's ruled by Neptune, and Neptune rules drugs. So be aware that that could lead to kind of a premature or unregulated kind of awakening that might be, not the best necessarily. Also, Uranus rules the nervous system. So keep that in mind, that you may be feeling more jangly, and it's coming from this very hidden place, like maybe you feel very antsy and whatnot and don't really feel like that hermit that the 12th house represents. You just feel like this nervous energy. So meditation certainly is always an indicator for something like that. On the 28th, okay, that was Uranus. On the 30th, or if you live outside the United States, it's probably going to be on the 31st. We have a full moon at 7 degrees of Pisces, and that is in your 10th house of career. So Neptune is already transiting through this house. So certainly there are Gemini people who are very influenced by the spiritual in terms of what it is that they want to do for their living. And this only enhances that, being that it's a full moon, which is very intuitive. And some of you may be actually ending your current profession to go into a new line of work. And don't forget that Saturn is in Pisces too. That's another thing. So Saturn is the ruler of the 10th house in astrology, and having it in its own domain is certainly very grounding and supportive. But with Neptune there, it can kind of, I wouldn't say neutralize it, but certainly challenge it in terms of how it's going to make everything happen. Saturn is about materializing things. So this full moon can bring recognition. Maybe it brings clarity to your mind about what it is that you want to do, because with Neptune in this area for over a decade, some Gemini people may have been very much at sea or lost in terms of finding themselves in a professional sense. Maybe you've tried to be a jack of all trades, or you've just gone into a bunch of different things. And, there's always a bit of the dabbler in Gemini. So you want to make sure that you're not just doing that, but that you really, if you have a desire to be an astrologer, for instance, that you're able to focus, that you're able to kind of like really hone in on what it is that you feel is your calling, and then go for it. But this can be like, some people may be retiring, and it's kind of like, okay, now what? You're trying to find yourself in a sense, and these outer designations are not really the way to find ourselves. They're very dependent on outer circumstances. Gemini is such a chameleon that you have a tendency to morph into whatever it is that you're becoming anyhow. So I just feel like you may get more guidance on what kind of thing you've been called to do. Also, this can be receiving recognition for your career that you have undertaken in some way, shape, or form. Even a promotion might be indicated in certain circumstances. Okay, Gemini, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. I'm promoting my double readings, which are an hour of natal chart analysis with an hour of transits for a special price called my deep dive reading. I have one with the tarot as well. And these are package deals. And then I have individual readings for, your career, but I call it like a life path reading because it's, more than that, looking at the North Node, the nodes, and all of that good stuff. Also, relationship readings and things like that. So you can find out more information at the link below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.